Hey, Pretty Girl Club. Welcome to another episode of Comment Foolery Exposed. Beyonce is being canceled for not speaking to nobody and outshining her counterparts, Kelly and Brandy. So does this sound familiar? The reason I'm bringing this up is because Beyonce, I think she's very triggering for a lot of people because not only does Beyonce benefit from isms, but she also happens to have genuine talent. But let's take a look at some of these comments about Beyonce. And for those of you who are not caught up, basically Beyonce has been going to the Boy Is Mine tour, and people are complaining saying that she didn't speak to Brandy, which is like disrespectful. This person says, Brandy doesn't need anything from Beyonce. Brandy has worked with Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, Michael Jackson, and Aretha Franklin, to name a few. So do you see how they're automatically starting off by comparing fame between Brandy and Beyonce? And by the way, the fact that people are even comparing Brandy to Beyonce, that already shows me that Beyonce is the standard of living. Beyonce is the standard of being an entertainer. Anytime somebody compares themselves to you, it's because you already met their internalized standard. That's why they're comparing. The fact that this person had to list out random people that Brandy performed with, that shows that Beyonce was already on a higher level, because if Brandy was really that big, then why would you even need to comment and name out who Brandy has performed with? But I just think it's interesting because when you are the one that's on the biggest pedestal, every little thing you do, people overreact. Like they're literally showing videos of Beyonce walking in slow motion. They're showing slow motion videos of Beyonce with her security guards trying to say that she was purposely ducking and hiding so that she didn't have to talk to Brandy. And even if she doesn't want to talk to Brandy, so what? This literally reminds me of how, like, when you're the popular girl, people get mad when you don't want to be their friend. People seek your validation. That's why they care so much about who you say hi to. They don't give a fuck about who Kelly said hi to. They don't care about who the B-list people say hi to. They only care about Beyonce. And then Brandy's brother, Ray J, he came online and he said that Beyonce walked past Brandy's dressing room and, didn't say hi. Okay, so now you're memorizing the walking path of Beyonce. Like, do you have a map of the building or something? Like, did you take out a layout of the building and like where all the dressing rooms are located? Like, how do you even know that information? How obsessed do you have to be with Beyonce to be memorizing her walking path and saying that she must have walked past Brandy's dressing room in order to talk to Kelly? It just reminds me of people in the Black community who say, oh, well, you walked right past me. Oh, well, you're acting funny. You're acting funny because you walked past me. You didn't say hello. You didn't say good morning to me. So now I'm mad at you. And then they're getting mad saying that Beyonce is outshining her. She's outshining the entire show just by showing up. And it's like, how is she outshining it? It's not like she jumped on the stage and grabbed the mic or something and started performing. She can't help it if people pay more attention to her than they do to Brandy. Brandy hasn't been at the top of the charts probably since 1995. So the fact that we're expecting people to not pay attention to someone like Beyonce is insane to me. But this person says, wake up. It has nothing to do with Brandy looking for validation. If you're coming through on my tour, you can still be respectful regardless of what's going on. They can coexist gracefully at their big age instead of being petty. So now, because of their age, they are required to say hello to each other. So apparently if you don't speak to someone, you are being petty and you are a bad person. And apparently if you reach a certain age, you're supposed to stop and say hello. Have you ever noticed that when you're on the pedestal, you are expected to stop and say hi to everybody? I mean, you have to say hello to the service people. You have to go out of your way to be a people pleaser. You have to go out of your way to be extra nice. And it's like, what if Beyonce doesn't want to be friends with Brandy? Oh, and by the way, Brandy is a colorist. I just want to point that out, by the way. Please insert the clip of Brandy talking about how dark Kelly was.
Kelly, do you remember how we met?
The first time was at Soul Train.
Soul Train. Tell me how I was. Like, I want to know, please. I just need to know.
Thought you were so obnoxious.
You did?
Ooh.
Tell me, like, What was I saying to you guys?
It was a whole bunch of questions.
Oh my God.
And remember, we just gotten back from Jamaica. I was like the color of, but just really, really chocolate. And I remember you were like, ooh, girl, you are dark.
Also, a lot of people said that back in the day, Brandy wanted to be with Jay-Z, but that Jay-Z didn't want to be in public with Brandy, but he chose to go public with Beyonce. Doesn't that story sound familiar? Doesn't that remind you of the cultural stories in the Black community about how the men always choose to go public with the light-skinned woman, and then the darker woman is just in the shadows, you know, she's just getting fucked in the shadows, and then she never gets promoted and put on a pedestal publicly. So I don't know why people are thinking that Brandy is just this angel, or like Brandy has never been a mean girl. I'm going to be honest, I never really cared for Brandy's personality because almost every time I saw her in the media growing up, it was always something about her like beefing with somebody. Like her and Countess Vaughn didn't get along back in the day. Allegedly, her and Beyonce didn't get along back in the day, and now you have this. But this commenter says, when did she perform with Michael? And this person says Moesha. So you literally had to bring up a fucking Moesha episode from 30 years ago to try to prove that Brandy is on the same level as Beyonce. The way that people are going out of their way to try to put Brandy on the same level is insane to me. This person says, if I understand correctly, Kelly came to Brandy for advice, but didn't like the advice given, and went back and reported it to Beyonce. So they're saying that Kelly is playing both sides. They're trying to imply that Kelly is kind of like the fake-ass friend. You know, she wants to be friends with Brandy. She's bad-talking Beyonce to Brandy, but then she's bad-talking Brandy to Beyonce. Have you ever had a friend like that? Have you ever had a friend who feels like she's the sidekick, and so in order to give herself more power in the friendship, she starts gossiping, and she wants all the other friends to beef with each other so that she can be the popular one? This person says, it seems like it. Kelly went to her confidant and friend Brandy to vent and share her thoughts, feelings, and seeking advice, then turned around and expressed what her confidant said as if she was bad-mouthing her other friend Beyonce and family, when in reality she was saying those things based on what Kelly told her privately. So Kelly seems truly messy and does not know that she can keep things hiding from Beyonce and her whole family. She does not need to reveal everything, especially not the things others told her about Beyonce and her family. And honestly, I'm not surprised by that. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Brandy told Kelly to leave Matthew Knowles because Kelly was gossiping and complaining about being in Beyonce's shadow. I mean, Kelly has said publicly that she's in Beyonce's shadow. So that's not Beyonce's fault. Like, it's not my fault that you're in my shadow. That is not. And also, Kelly hasn't been under Matthew's management in damn near 20 years. So what's the excuse now? Matthew's not holding back her career. This person says, it's cool Beyonce supports Kelly's career by going to multiple shows. Wish she would have supported Halle and Chloe this way. Shaking my damn head. So now Beyonce, she failed. So Beyonce is a bad friend. She's a bad marketer. She needs to be promoting Chloe and Halle. So have you ever been around people where whenever you're the talented one, whenever you are exceptional and the most popular and successful, everybody expects you to do everything for them. You got to be their PR person. You need to manage their careers. You got to make them more talented. You need to be giving people advice. You're supposed to be an inspirational and motivational speaker, telling everybody else how to get their careers move forward. I think the problem is that people look to Beyonce to put them on. And in reality, nobody owes you anything. So just because Beyonce is successful, that doesn't mean it's her responsibility to single-handedly promote everybody. She doesn't have to do that. And also, if you're talented, your talent will speak for itself. Chloe and Halle are doing just fine. I think that they're doing well. I don't think that they flopped. I think that they're making a name for themselves in the industry. This person says, imagine Brandy told Kelly to leave Matthew and she got her solo breakout. Brandy had Kelly on tour to earn a bag. I don't care what excuses Beyonce has. She has been successful enough to summon Kelly and Michelle for the Super Bowl, but never once put her on. When Kelly got on the charts, Beyonce did the same sisterhood photo op and still never did a collab, signed her, did a tour, no joint performance. No way I'm eating and making millions and my bestie, aka sister, out here not rising up with me. As Bob Marley said, sometimes your enemy can be your best friend and your best friend your worst enemy. So basically, it's Beyonce's fault that Kelly is not as much of an icon as Beyonce. So apparently Beyonce was required to perform with them at the Super Bowl. So her performing by herself at the Super Bowl, apparently that's being a shady friend. Do you see this mindset of wanting to ride this woman's coattails? If my best friend got cast to perform at the Super Bowl, I would be cheering them on. I wouldn't get mad and expect them to automatically make a space for me on the stage. That is her moment to shine. So why would I get mad that she's not just handing out her spotlight? They want free handouts. It's almost this mindset of, if you get the spotlight, you need to give me a free handout of the spotlight. So that's like a disingenuous friendship then. That means that you're only friends with Beyonce because you want her to hand you like free promo. You want her to hand you a career and fame. So nobody wants to be used like that. I mean, if that is what happened, if Beyonce felt like she was being used and then she says, no, I'm not going to promote you, that's fair. That's called having boundaries. And it kind of reminds me of the crabs in a bucket mentality in the Black community. It's like, if you become this famous superstar, Beyonce happens to be Creole, but it's like, okay, if you're this successful Creole woman, now you need to make a space for this unambiguous dark-skinned Black woman. And it's like, do you see how they're always expecting the light-skinned people to open the door for them? They're always expecting this person to give them the spotlight. Also, when did Beyonce say, Kelly Rowland is my bestie? That's actually not what Beyonce said. I don't see Beyonce all over social media saying, oh my God, this is my best friend. She's my number one person. I want her to succeed just as much as me. So they're actually holding Beyonce to something she never even said. They're holding Beyonce to promises that she never even gave to Kelly. She's not Kelly's manager. You know who is Kelly's manager, though? Her husband. Kelly Rowland left Matthew Knowles and she married hypogamously. She married a Black man. So if anything, you need to be blaming Kelly's dusty Black husband for not making her more of an icon than Beyonce. And also, let's be honest, even if Kelly Rowland did perform at the Super Bowl with Beyonce, I don't think that would have made her career take off. Kelly Rowland doesn't even have the same body of work as Beyonce. Beyonce had an album out at that time. Like, she makes music all the time. Name 5 Kelly Rowland songs. I can't name 5. I know 2 Kelly Rowland songs, Motivation and Daylight. That's it. Those are the only Kelly Rowland songs I know. Both of those songs are from the early 2000s. So the fact that people hinge so much weight on you when you are the one on the pedestal, it's literally like they are worshiping you. That's why I say that you get treated like a celebrity. Beyonce is being treated like a celebrity by fellow celebrities. So they're basically admitting you're on a higher pedestal than me. And so if I don't have a career, it's Beyonce's fault. Do you see how they always have this external locus of control? It's Beyonce's fault. It's Matthew Knowles. He's the reason why my career didn't succeed. Well, it's because Beyonce didn't invite me to perform at the Super Bowl. That's why I didn't succeed. It's because Beyonce didn't invite me to open up on her tour. First of all, if someone is inviting you to be an opener, they're basically saying you are on a lower level than me as an artist. Because no artist, they never allow someone to open for them who's on the same level as them. It's always somebody who's kind of newer, they don't really know as much. It's almost like a mentor-mentee type of relationship. That's what the opener is. So that actually is kind of insulting. Maybe Beyonce doesn't view Kelly as beneath her, so maybe she doesn't want her to be an opener. I remember when it was first announced that Kelly was going to be on the Boy Is Mine tour, people were saying that Kelly is too good to be an opener for Brandy and for Monica. So it's interesting how Beyonce is the villain here, but why are you not giving Brandy the side eye for basically viewing Kelly as her opener? Because from my point of view, Kelly is just going from Beyonce's sidekick to now Brandy's sidekick. So neither one of these are something where it's like, oh, now her whole career is going to be changed because she went on tour with this person. Does Kelly even have a new album out? But this person says, exactly. Beyonce never supported Kelly like a true friend until this tour. Sierra is even more closer to Kelly. Notice how they're trying to put it on a hierarchy. Okay, Sierra's closer to Kelly. Okay, so then why is there no smoke for Sierra then? Why is it that the smoke only goes to Beyonce? It's because you put Beyonce on a higher pedestal. That's why. If you're saying that Brandy is closer to Kelly, Sierra is closer to Kelly, all these other artists are closer to Kelly, then why did none of those artists put her on then? Why couldn't she ride any of their coattails to success? Oh, it's because deep down inside, you know that Beyonce is the best out of all those artists. So that's why you're randomly putting it on Beyonce. It's because whoever has the highest pedestal, you're always required to be a fucking charity case. You're supposed to be a philanthropist for those who are less talented than you. You know how they say you have to reach back and give to others? Okay, but guess what? You get to practice selective giving. You don't have to give to everybody. Beyonce doesn't owe every other artist in the industry fame and a spotlight. That's not even how fame works. People are literally viewing Beyonce as the end-all be-all gatekeeper to fame and success. They're viewing her as the end-all be-all to the music industry. But Beyonce, she can't sing those notes for Kelly. Kelly needs to work on those notes. She can barely even hit a middle C. This woman has been singing and dancing alongside an icon for decades, and she can barely even hit half the dance moves and half the vocal notes that Beyonce hits.
I promise you, I keep myself for a whole 20 years. You think I remember it by now? So you working on harp with him? Nope, that's not my verse. I'm with another. Get your hands up.
Beyonce's not famous just for no reason. Usually people support music artists because they have something special about them. Even Brandy. Brandy can hit notes that Kelly can't even hit. Monica can sing things that Kelly can't even sing. So that's why I said that even if Beyonce were to try to drag Kelly to the spotlight, Kelly is not going to be at that icon status just because Beyonce co-signs her. That's not how society works. People need to have something to aspire to in order to really kind of get behind you. That's why Kelly never had the fan base. First of all, people don't even care about unambiguous dark-skinned black women. A lot of unambiguous dark-skinned black women would rather follow a Beyonce, or they'd rather follow an Ice Spice or someone light-skinned as opposed to Kelly. Name one unambiguous dark-skinned black singer who has more of a fan base than Beyonce. I'll wait. And I'm not even a member of the Beehive saying this. So we all know how society works. We know that people don't even fuck with Kelly like that. Who is Kelly Rowland's core audience? Do they even have a name? Because like with Beyonce, you have the Beehive. With Rihanna, you have the Rihanna Navy. With Taylor Swift, you got the Swifties. So you got all these other artists who have like a name for their fan base. What is the name of Kelly's fan base? I'll wait. If Kelly was really just as talented and had just as much star power as Beyonce, then Kelly's album that she made would have done better. It would have been more of a classic. Think about Lauryn Hill. Lauryn Hill's an unambiguous dark-skinned woman who had one album, and it was so good, and she was so talented that even to this day, people are stans of Lauryn Hill. She has a very solid core audience. So why couldn't Kelly do the same thing? But this person says, Kelly's still thinking Beyonce is her friend when she has never even given her an opportunity to at least open for her on any of her tours, let alone tour with her, is why I know Kelly Rowland is dumb. Yeah, Kelly Rowland is terrible at social climbing. And let's not forget that Kelly does not have the same stage presence as Beyonce. Some people are like, oh, well, Kelly is having Beyonce coaching her, and, that's why she's becoming better. Okay, so then you just admitted that Beyonce is a better artist than Kelly Rowland then. So that's the real reason why Kelly Rowland is not an icon like Beyonce. It's not because she's dark-skinned or because Beyonce didn't promote her enough. It's literally because she just doesn't perform as good. And even Kelly admitted that she doesn't have the same work ethic as Beyonce. And by the way, we have to remember that Kelly Rowland is very insecure. She admitted that she wished that she looked like Mariah Carey. She literally admitted that when she was talking about colorism. The thing that really turned me off from Kelly was when she did a whole entire world tour of interviews talking about how colorism held her back as opposed to doing an actual tour for her own music. She would rather talk about how she's a victim than actually going out and like showing the world her talent. That's what turned me off from Kelly Rowland. And then remember a few months ago, there were reports that said that Kelly Rowland walked out of an interview. Like she left the set because she said that she didn't want to be asked about Beyonce. She said she felt like everybody would always ask her about Beyonce during every interview. And it's like, Kelly, if that's your best friend and you love her so much, well, why wouldn't you want to talk about your best friend? Oh, is it because it's your moment to shine, Kelly? Okay, so then where was that energy when it was Beyonce's moment to shine at the Super Bowl? Why is it that Kelly can have a moment to shine where it's not about Beyonce, Beyonce's not included, but then when it's the Super Bowl, Beyonce is a fake-ass bitch for not inviting Kelly to be on the Super Bowl stage with her? Do you see the double standard? Whenever you're the one who has a bigger pedestal, you're always held to a double standard. There are always people who want you to give more, and then, they just want to take from you. They want to take a piece of your status. And they always hold you to a higher standard than what they hold themselves to. That's exactly what Kelly Rowland is. And also for the people who are like, oh, well, Brandy was right for saying that Kelly should leave the management of Matthew Knowles. Okay, so let's talk about Brandy's career then. Brandy has never been managed by Matthew Knowles. So then why is Brandy not a bigger icon than Beyonce then? Since Brandy is so knowledgeable, since she knows more than Beyonce, since she's such an expert, since she has been in the industry and been famous longer than Beyonce, then why is Brandy's career, why did she not pop off on the same level then? Do you see what I mean? So Kelly's allowed to talk shit, Brandy's allowed to talk shit, Ray J's allowed to talk shit, but then Beyonce, oh no, you need to say hi to everybody, Beyonce. You can't take pictures at the concerts, Beyonce. You're a copycat, Beyonce. You just steal everything. And then people are like, oh, she's only going there so that she can learn from Brandy. She needs to learn how to sing better, so that's why she's listening to Brandy. You don't have to fly all the way across the country to see a live concert in order to learn how to sing better. First of all, Beyonce is already good at singing, but if she truly just wanted to steal Brandy's vocals or something like that, she could just watch a video of Brandy singing. She didn't have to actually show up there and put in the effort and spend the money to travel to show up to the concert. So that argument, that's not a good argument. This person says, F Beyonce and Jay-Z. They are not couple goals. They are not people to look up to. Brandy is better in all aspects. Also, Brandy does her own ish. She doesn't steal like Beyonce. Why the F is Beyonce at Brandy's concert anyway? To probably steal and use it on her tour like she always does. Don't get me started. So anything Beyonce does is stolen. Okay, so if Beyonce is just stealing everything, then again, why didn't Brandy pop off even more then? Since Brandy's the blueprint, right? Since Kelly's the blueprint and Beyonce's just a copycat, then why do the results not show that? And here this person goes. They said, Beyonce isn't going to those concerts solely to support Kelly. She's going to hear Brandy's vocal skills live, and she's taking notes. There are reports how she likes to borrow from others. So her learning from Brandy, that's her stealing. It's like, which one is it? Do you want people to learn from Brandy or not? Do you want people to respect Brandy and learn skills from her, or is that not allowed? Is that stealing? So if Beyonce sings notes similar to Brandy, I guess it means Beyonce stole them. And it's like, ma'am, you didn't create music. Brandy is not the inventor of music. And to be honest, I don't even really care for Brandy's tone. I always liked Beyonce's tone better than Brandy's. But this person says, Beyonce being at Brandy's concert, avoiding her is weird. I don't care what anybody says. Brandy went to Beyonce's tour and has no beef. Beyonce has never put Kelly on as an opening act. It's sick. Chris and Brandy did both times Beyonce toured. Let that sink in. And now she has all the time to support Kelly. I'm not buying it. Okay, so if Brandy has no beef and she loves Beyonce so much, why didn't Brandy come out and clear this up? Brandy could have said, hey guys, I see you talking crap about Beyonce. Stop doing that. Me and Beyonce are cool. Why didn't Brandy come out of her room? If Brandy really wanted Beyonce to talk to her that bad, Brandy could have came out of the dressing room herself instead of having her and her brother tracking Beyonce's walking path in the concert hall. Oh, she walked past Brandy's room. Like, are you spying on Beyonce? Do you have people watching? Are you getting security camera footage? Like, how would you even know if Beyonce walked past her dressing room? I'm pretty sure that concert venues are pretty big, right? So they probably have pretty big dressing rooms. So how would you even know what walking path Beyonce had? So if Brandy really loves Beyonce that much and has no beef and supports Beyonce, then Brandy could have came out of the room. She could have said, hey, you know what, Beyonce, you don't even have to sit in the audience. You know, you can be in the front row. We can hang out before the show. Why didn't Brandy do that? Do you see how it's all hinging on Beyonce? It's Beyonce's responsibility to organize an entire friendship gathering after Brandy's concert. You don't know what Brandy's doing after her concert. She could be meeting and greeting with fans. She could be relaxing. She could be changing or something. Why would Beyonce just bust into somebody's dressing room? That doesn't even make sense. Oh, it's Brandy's concert. Let me just go try to bust into her dressing room. And also, they're saying that Chris Brown had Kelly Rowland opening for him. Okay, that's another insult. I would never want to be an opener for Chris Brown. But it's like, okay, so Kelly has plenty of support then. So then why is she still not popping like Beyonce then? If she had the support of Chris Brown, she's got the support of Brandy, she's got unambiguous dark-skinned black women who are her fans, supposedly. You know, she's got all this beauty, all this talent, and all these people supporting her. Okay, so then that means she has no excuse. That means that it's Kelly's fault that Kelly is where she's at then. This person says, I actually love that Brandy does not bow down to Beyonce. Not everyone has to be like Beyonce. And I love that Brandy thinks she's the shit and doesn't fall at Beyonce's feet. I am happy for Beyonce's success, but I've never been into her music, bought it, or gone to a concert. To each their own. So you're happy that Brandy doesn't bow down to Beyonce, but you're unhappy that Beyonce doesn't bow down to Brandy? So do you see the double standard right there? If you're on the pedestal, if you're the most famous one, the most popular, if you're the popular exotical, you have to bow down to people like Brandy. You have to bow down when you're at their concert. But I don't see Beyonce's family members coming out and saying, oh, hey, Brandy, you didn't go backstage and say hi. You didn't come backstage and say hi to Beyonce. What's wrong with you? This person says, B never allowed Kelly to open up for her speaks volumes. Like, this is your sister. Don't put her on to get a bag. Wow. But Kelly was in the same group as Beyonce. Why would Beyonce view Kelly as beneath her? So you're mad that Beyonce didn't make Kelly one of her employees. Do you see what I mean? People are always looking for a handout. So that means that you never viewed Beyonce as your friend then. You always viewed Beyonce as your boss. You always viewed her as the source of your income. Oh, well, you didn't put me on to get a bag. It's your fault that I didn't get enough money, Beyonce. It's your fault that I'm not as rich as I could be. Not my husband's fault, because remember, Kelly's husband is her manager. So any problems with Kelly's career, you need to discuss that with her manager, who is her husband. But this person responded and they said, how the F do you know if she tried several times? And Kelly was like, no, you don't know these damn people. Kelly has said it many times. She don't need Beyonce for nothing. Exactly. So if she doesn't need Beyonce, why are people mad that Kelly's not touring with Beyonce? Also, I thought that Beyonce was a flop anyway. I mean, I've seen videos recently saying she's a flop. I've seen people saying that Beyonce is just a slave, you know, that she has to tour because she can't pay her bills. I see people saying that Beyonce is trying to move to another country because she can't afford to stay in the U.S. They're saying that she was doing some shady stuff with Diddy. So all this stuff about Beyonce, but now people are mad because, you know, Beyonce wasn't giving handouts to Kelly. Well, what do you ladies think? Let me know in the comment section and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.